With the release of the Fantastic Four First Steps, there are now 5 different Fantastic Four movies, so let's rank them all. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. The Fantastic Four First Steps is the 5th Fantastic Four movie that we have gotten over the last 30 years. So today I'm going to give you my ranking of all 5 of these movies. Easily coming in last place is Roger Corman's The Fantastic Four from 1994. And this one is a very interesting one because this movie was actually not even officially released in theaters. You can find it online if you do a little bit of digging, but after seeing the movie, it is pretty easy to see why this was never released. It is beyond goofy. None of it works. The dialogue is cheesy as hell. It's all so over the top. The visual effects, of course, are incredibly corny and just really laughably bad at times. And I did have a little bit of fun with this movie because I love movies that are, they're not meant to be funny. And when they're that bad, it makes it hilarious to me. And I can't help but laugh at the corniness, the goofiness of it all. So I had a little bit of fun watching this movie, but for the most part, a lot of it is pretty bad. It just doesn't work. In 4th place, I have Fant4stic from 2015. And for a while, I thought this was a great Fantastic Four movie when I was 10 years old and saw it in theaters. And, since then, I have defended it over and over again. And after the last time I watched it, it was finally just hit me how messy this movie is. I think it could have worked. It could have been a great Fantastic Four movie, but you can tell that it got chopped up in the editing room, and the first half could have worked as a bit of an origin story, but it's only like an hour and 45 minutes. And so the second and third acts just feel really, really rushed. It kind of feels like we're jumping back and forth between plot lines that don't fully matter, don't really go anywhere. And the kind of thing that I really don't appreciate about this movie is I get that these characters are scared. They don't know what happened to their bodies. It's a crazy thing that's going on with them. But they hate each other for the entire movie until just the last 20 or 30 minutes when they have to reluctantly come together to stop Dr. Doom. And I just don't like that. I don't like watching a movie where all of the characters freaking hate each other and then they come together as a team just because they have to. And then by the end, it's like, oh, everything's all right again. I don't like that. So I don't really have the urge to go back to this movie all that often. And it just wasn't a great adaptation of these characters. In 3rd place, I have Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer. And I don't think this movie is atrociously bad by any means. It's not nearly as bad as the last 2 movies on this list. But I don't think a lot of it works. I think, again, it feels really rushed. The movie is only 90 minutes, and it just feels like there's a lot going on, especially in the first hour. But they're trying to do so much, and then it's the last 30 minutes. It feels like they're just trying to resolve everything way too quickly. Galactus is posed as this huge threat that's coming this entire movie, and then in the last 15 minutes, it's revealed that he's just this giant cloud that's going to suck everything up like a tornado, and then he only gets like 5 minutes of screen time. Silver Surfer defeats him like that. The Fantastic Four don't really have anything to do with it, and really in the last 30 minutes, this becomes a rehash of the final act of the 2005 Fantastic Four, where they're more focused on taking down Dr. Doom again than on Galactus himself. And I get the reason for that is because they had to get Silver Surfer's bored, but this wasn't supposed to be a Doctor Doom movie. It was supposed to be a Galactus movie, and so the fact that they did that, it just doesn't work for me, and it all felt way too messy and way too rushed. Number 2, Fantastic Four from 2005, and I think this movie is a fair amount of fun. I think it's Chris Evans steals the show most of the time. He has some funny quips here and there, and I think overall it's not a terrible movie. It's a superhero movie that you can have a fun time with. You can kind of laugh at it a little bit because it is kind of cheesy, and so I think overall some of it works. It's not a movie that I have the urge to go back to a ton, but it's also just not a bad movie. But coming in number 1, easily my favorite Fantastic Four movie, and I think everybody could agree that it's the best Fantastic Four movie, is the Fantastic Four First Steps. I loved this movie. I pretty much loved everything about it, and I just really enjoyed this world that they established. I love that it's set in a completely different universe. It gives the directors, the writers, just so much creative freedom to make their own rules, establish their own interpretation of this world and of these characters. And everybody does a fantastic job.
Say that again?
Love everyone in their respective roles. The 2 massive standouts for me were Evan Moss-Backrack as The Thing and Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm. Galactus is finally done right and is a threatening villain, is shown in a very cool way. Silver Surfer is great, and the visuals look incredible. So overall, I had an absolute blast with this movie, and it's not really it's not quite one of my favorite MCU movies ever or anything like that, but I do think it is a fantastic,
say that again,
no pun intended, step in the right direction for Marvel, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Avengers Doomsday and bringing back, I can't wait to see more of these characters. So there you have it. That is my ranking of all 5 Fantastic Four movies. What is your ranking of these movies? Let me know down in the comments below. I have a few other MCU videos planned coming pretty soon, so be on the lookout for those. And until then, subscribe to my channel. Help me reach my goal of 400 subscribers. It would really mean a lot. And keep watching movies.